is brought to you by the Trump's Mumps. The Trump's Mumps, they brought me at least one of my Christmas presents early, so that's exciting. And now, here's the song. Deck the halls with those subpoenas, fa la 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 la. Stormy Daniels saw his penis, fa la 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 la. She said that it's like a mushroom. Okay, that's it. And now here they are, your inveterable hosts, Carlos, Kareem Wyndham. Howdy ho, everybody. Here we go. Is how you know we're here. How you doing? Ugh, it's Monday. Did anybody else have one of these? I had a Monday that disguised itself as a Wednesday, which fuck you. It's bad enough when Wednesday disguises itself as Monday, because then all day the day is like, ooh girl, you forgot some shit, and you didn't. But what was horrible was that today was like, ooh, girl, it's Wednesday. You done with a bunch of shit already, which I absolutely was not. So that Scooby-Doo mystery can suck it. And I mean that in a gender neutral way. Hey, there's an album on the screen right there. It's called And We Ride. And we on it. SoundCloud, go check it out. If you must, please go ahead. Feel free to give it a spin on Spotify, knowing that you're only robbing from yourself, because it could just disappear from there at any minute. Who knows? I don't know how Spotify works. I know that they don't pay us. Hey, on Tuesday, tomorrow, a friend of mine, Amber Pointson. Huh? What? Organizer, activist, all around badass mom on the front line of the Wall of Moms when it was called such a thing. And then white women did what they fucking do. And then Amber did what the fuck we do. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow at 4:20, December the 8th. What you should do is be here under the philosopher's tree for that conversation. It's going to be a good chat. And lastly, here we go with all the things. Let's see. Skype is tripping on me, but I got it back. Everything's fine. Y'all are good. We're going to cut that right out. Joshua, do me a favor. Cut that out. Okay? Take it to the edit bay. That'll be fine. Lastly, hey, do you like what we do here under the philosopher's tree? Well, there's so many ways you could support that. Hey, smash a button. I don't even know what that fucking means, but the kids say it on the YouTube. So if you're there watching it on YouTube, do that. Smash a button and leave a comment. That means I'm supposed to leave a topic for engagement. Black people are great. That should get us plenty of comments. So you can do that if you're on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you know what you do. You like it. You could share it. That would be great. And it's absolutely free to do that. You could do that for free. You could like it. You could share it. And if you really absolutely love it and you want to drop 5 on it, go ahead and hit the Venmo, Carlos-Wyndham, the Cash App, $CK Wyndham, PayPal, me. Oh, God damn it. Forgot the /. I can do this. I know what the fuck I'm doing. PayPal /me.CK Wyndham. And if you really absolutely love it, you still have time to get in under the wire and get you one of those Portland 2020 Carlos Kareem Wyndham trading cards. That's something that you get at the Patreon. Something that has been done by Ruthie, Erica, Amber, Aaron, Seth, Lisa, Kristen, Renisa, Michael, Natalie, Juliet, Tarika, Tracy, Venus, Jen, Tink, and Anonymous, who said, do not say my name or send me that swag. If you're really into it, you can go ahead and do that at Patreon at Smoke and Mirrors CCB. That is Smoke and Mirrors CCB. That is for the comedy, the culture, and the blackness. Hi. Hey again. My face again. It was a Monday disguised as some things. I am, as I was hinting in the introduction, only thing that's really been popping in the news, and it's going to be too late by the time I'm doing any news segments again. So I'm just going to say real quick, is that I was going to in a few days be talking about Rudy Giuliani messing up and farting live on air twice, one after the other, even kind of scooted over a little bit. It was really disgusting. It sounded wet. And then COVID showed up and went, "Oh, girl, hold on, hold my tea," and decided to just sideline our girl for a minute. So we don't know when we're going to hear from Rudy next. I do want to wish Rudy all of the compassion and empathy and kindness that he showed all of the black citizenry through all of Stop and Frisk. So whatever happens, I guess. Hey, that's on the set. Look at that right there. That's a authentic wreath made of New Mexico hatch chiles, the same ones that I poisoned myself, the same type, not the same ones. I didn't eat those. That I poisoned myself with last week and wasn't here for last Monday because I had the food poison. So keep your eye on the Hatch Green chilies this season, and thank God we're going to have supervision over agriculture and food and food substances and the foods we ingest again. That'll be neat. So today I'm under the philosopher's tree with a friend of mine, and that's fun to say because what I've realized is that a lot of people think that she's a friend of theirs too, and that's fun to think. I think that about people who are well known sometimes. This is somebody who I knew was special from the time I'd known them. I knew that they had become more well known for very, very, very good reasons that we will talk about. I did what I haven't with me, because who pays attention if they do the kind of shit that I do to anything but themselves, not me, didn't know how well known my friend had become. And I'm going to tell you something. More good reasons. One of which is a book that I have here. And what you'll notice is that the book jacket is not on it. And that's because I've been reading it. I read this book. And this is The Purpose of Power. And under the tree today is a friend of mine. And they don't need any more introduction. And it would be stupid and embarrassing for both of us for me to give all of the bona fides. So with that, will you welcome under the philosopher? Oh, man, say the word right. Oh, my Lord. Jesus Christ. Joshua, cut that. We're going to just do it again, okay? Get like 2 seconds from the book. Power of Purpose, and man, it's a good read. So with that, would you welcome under the philosopher's tree, my friend Alicia Garza. Alicia, welcome. Where's the button? There it goes. There it is. There's so many people working here so hard to make a girl look good.
You're doing just fine. Thank you so much for having me. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much for being here. It is great to see you. I suppose theoretically we got to give some of the bona fides. Only in that I want to talk to you about some of the shit, because the last time I saw you, we'll talk about that shit. It'll come up. The last time I got to see you, we were having so much fun at your husband's birthday. That was
That's right.
tremendous.
That was
Tremendous.
almost a year ago. That was probably the last big party before the pandemic that I can
We
remember.
got to hug and kiss and shit, remember?
I do.
Oh, miss
Yeah,
it. That was so
I know.
fantastic. You
I,
throw a party. Very, very, very well done. Very
why,
well
thank,
done.
why, thank you.
Oh, indeed. Indeed. So how you holding up? How's your day? Yeah, how long have you been sat in front of this? Because I know. Listen, I know you love me. Okay,
I do.
but don't tell me for 1 second that your face is this beat just to be talking to me today. So how
Yeah.
long have you been on having to do this shit?
Well, this face has been beat since 8 o'clock this morning.
Mm,
It's my new pandemic habit. It helps me get out of my pajamas. So I have a routine. I get up, I pray, and I make my coffee, and I get on my Peloton, and I ride for 45 minutes, and then I beat this face. I take a shower, and then I beat this face.
okay,
And that's how I get the day started.
okay, okay. All right.
But I will say that for 4 straight months, I just wore the same three pairs of leggings over and over and over again. I went through all my t-shirts. I was rolling hard in my sweatshirts, and then I was like, you have to get up in the morning and take a shower. There's
Listen,
like hygiene things that you have to do.
it gets natural. It gets natural.
Look, and you really just stop giving a fuck. You really
Yeah.
do. So I was finding that I was actually getting depressed because I wasn't breaking up the days in any kind of way. I was rolling out of bed, grabbing a cup of coffee, staring at the computer, doing endless Zoom calls, and then
Right.
watching TV and going to sleep. And that, my friend, is no way to live.
Mm-mm.
So now I put
Mm-mm.
on makeup and I sit in front of the
Girl,
computer all
listen,
day,
listen. Secrets to the game. Check this out.
you know?
Jeans,
Yes.
jeans.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to make sure I could fit in my jeans, and I am fitting in my jeans.
I am in the jeans. I am
You know?
physically in the jeans, and so
It,
I consider that fitting.
it's good.
I got in there.
Yeah.
It's a little tighter than it used to be, but it is what it is.
For the first time in my life, I did not adopt the 15 that goes with these kinds of events.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, I've lost it. I've lost it. But I keeps it healthy with a little tequila, keeps the pounds on.
Listen, I ain't even mad at it. I ain't mad at none of it. I'm like, look, honestly, if we think about what the aesthetic for the human body has been
Thank
for
you.
the past far too long,
That's right.
I'm solid. I'm
Listen,
good. Let's everybody get a Snickers. Who need a care
right.
package? What do we need? You
Back,
need some
back.
carbs, whatever it is. Let's get it.
I think
Let's
I've
get it.
I've devoured about 17 boxes of Gushers. I'm obsessed with them. I can't end the day without having a package of Gushers. So,
I'm a mess. I'm so bougie. I've been ordering croissants in from New York.
oh
That's
yeah,
that's yes, yes. My
oh
girl
yeah.
Stephanie would hate. Oh, rest in peace. I can hear her ghost in my head, and I can hear her just clowning me on stage right now. She had a bit where she talked shit directly about me, talking about fancy bitches who say things like croissant.
Listen,
So
I'm a fan bitch.
guilty, guilty. Listen, I'm ordering them
Yes.
in from CC's Pastries in New York. I give a fuck. They're delicious.
And a good croissant. Come on,
Pure butter,
come
pure
on.
butter,
Nice
please.
flaky,
I be
but
they
you can mold it into a little ball that gets dipped in the. Look, come on,
they in the
come on.
freezer every morning. 10 minutes in the toasty. I'm
That's
ready.
it.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to
Support.
go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Uh, so listen, I did know, and I know this from your book, which is a thing that I did not know. And I knew, I knew by spirit. I knew by spirit.
Sure.
Um, Because those of us who have grown up amongst the whites and may
Right.
have whites, I find that it gives you minty, fresh breath.
It gives you
And
wings.
it's a sin. Listen, it's a sin against Allah to have foul odors emit from the body. And
Yeah.
so, whites.
Right.
That growing up amongst them, it does give you some particular skills. It gives you the skills of one, identifying them.
Extraction.
Say one more time.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh
Yeah, I mean.
huh. Oh my lord. Oh my lord.
Mhm.
Listen. So growing up amongst the whites, what I will share with you one of the most odd things I used to do. And one of the most horrific things that it turned into later, if it comes up in the conversation, because I would love to hear what it was like for you primarily. I used to I never had gone to a public school ever, right? Until the third grade, at which point I did and was subjected to chairs and rows and
Mm,
chalk and the smell of it, and
mm,
white children who could not read very well aloud. And none of those were
mm.
things I'd ever experienced, right? That rhythm of whiteness, of white children, that like that rhythm,
Mm,
I did not know. I had
mm,
never heard. That was when I was exposed to it, and
mm,
uh, it was a brazen shock to me to see what whiteness was.
mm.
When you were talking about growing up in Marin, was there a particular classroom moment early, right? I'm talking about that second grade, third grade one that let you know, oh shit, this is about to be on like forever.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to give you one classroom and one home teaching moment.
Okay, okay.
So the classroom moment that I remember, because Marin is its own place. It's not like Portland. Marin is working class folks of color in density, and then like very, very rich white people. And then there's a sliver of like working class white folk. Um, so I went to Coleman Elementary School, and Coleman was in a community called San Rafael, which was also relatively diverse. And I remember being in fifth grade. This is with the same teacher who asked me about whether or not the palms of my hands were as light as the bottoms of my feet. Okay.
Mm.
I remember there was this boy in my class. His name was Nathaniel, and his parents were like European immigrant. And the family was like, they played tennis. So the
Mm.
dad would always show up in tennis shorts and the socks pulled up over the calves, the Adidas sneakers and like a white polo shirt. Well, Nathaniel liked to talk in class, and Nathaniel liked to cat off.
Mm.
And the teacher didn't like Nathaniel catting off. So one day, Nathaniel's daddy came to the class and beat the shit out of Nathaniel on the balcony outside the classroom. And I will never, ever forget this. I will never forget this because this is how I knew they were a different kind of white.
Right,
Um,
right.
you don't beat children in public according to white people, and white people don't beat children, as far as I knew growing up. It was more like
That's the theory.
time out, maybe you get something, a privilege taken away, like your cell phone or some shit like that.
Right.
When I tell you this boy got his ass beat on the balcony outside the classroom, and the whole class was quiet, and you could hear the daddy brought a belt and was whooping that ass. He said, "Don't you ever," but it was like in an accent, right? And so
Okay,
I,
okay, okay.
I just
That's
remember
that's
being
a,
like,
that right there is some Bay Area shit. That right
this
there is some
isn't
particular
kind of
Bay
white.
Area shit. There's some
This
different.
is I said, you
It's a
are
different flavor
white,
of
but
white.
not from here white. You are European white. Second moment that I can remember, and this is not related to school per se, but it's like what happened after school.
Oh, so wait a
So
minute, wait a
my
minute, wait a minute. You say European white. So this was somebody completely from Europe. So that was not a
like
Bay Area accent at all.
no, no, this
Okay.
was and I was shocked by it because I had never seen a white person beat their child like a black person would beat your child.
Right,
You understand
right.
me?
Yes.
So the second thing I can remember though is being in middle school and going to my friends' houses after school. Now, my parents were really strict. They did not let me go anywhere. They hadn't met the parents. They didn't know what y'all was doing. They didn't like you. They'd be like, you can't go to their house. And it was always random. But the one thing that I remember very distinctly is my white friends would talk to their parents real wild. They would call their mothers by their first names.
Ooh-wee.
They would cuss their mamas out, call them all kinds of B's
First
and
time,
H's.
first time I ever heard that, yo. I was 12 years old, and my man, it would. I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to embarrass nobody. I was in my man's house, and his little brother called the
B.
mama a B. I was like,
Mm-mm.
ain't nothing
Mm-mm.
happened.
I was shocked.
I was like,
I was
wait,
shocked.
and nothing gonna happen too? We all still gonna just sit here and eat?
No, because we never tried. I never tried that. Like it wasn't, it never occurred to me
Not in a
to call
million.
my mother out of her name. And it never occurred to me to call my mother by her first name. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. So that's when I started to get a sense of like, oh, I'm a visitor here.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
I'm a visitor here and I will soon be leaving here.
Yeah,
This is not the place that I belong.
yeah. Yeah, no, it is wild. It is wild. I mean, I really did have the privilege of having two best friends. I grew up in a very, initially, it was not normal white people, right? So it was not, I thought it was a Montessori school. I only found out recently it was not. It was an experimental school. It was Jewish Ashkenazi. There was
Uh-huh.
nothing white about it. I did not
Uh-huh.
know. I found this out later, right? So I learned that it was not normal to be in the chess club and the Einstein club and be dissecting cows' eyes and no cursive by the time you're in
Mm,
the third grade. I thought that was just what you do.
I see.
And white teachers didn't feel the same way. Once I got to public school, I started getting a lot of no, we don't do it that way
Mm,
in my world.
hmm.
This book is incredible. Very well done. Very
Thank
easy read. Thank you. Um, I had not. I think there are a lot of discoveries for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons in the book. I've got my hand on it, like I'm doing like I'm being initiated into something. It's
Well done.
you know in this one right here.
Hmm.
One of the things that I took that I had not considered, right? Which is why I love being flexible enough to listen to and learn from people who are not my age.
Mm,
Cause good.
mm,
Thank God. And
mm,
thank God that it keeps carrying on and on and on and on.
mm.
And I had never considered myself any level of organizer at all. But you talked about what an organizer is and does with
Yes.
very clear language. What could you explore that with me a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I talk about how an organizer brings people together. An organizer builds relationships that turn into relationships of action. And essentially, the role of an organizer is to be a team builder, it is to be a cheerleader, but it is also to be transformed in the service of the work. And why I wrote this book is because I wanted to make organizing more accessible. You know, I come from a place in this country that has contributed so much to the lexicon of what it means to build power, what it means to have a worldview, have a point of view, and what it means to fight for the world that we deserve. And one of the things that I learned after kind of not being so focused politically in the Bay Area is that actually um, these ideas are so useful. And in practice, they're even more useful, but they're so not accessible to most people. And, being in a place like the Bay, you're really spoiled because this is like the crucible of where radical things happen, right? It's like this is the birthplace of the Black Panther Party for self-defense, not to be confused with the original Black Panther Party. This is the birthplace of, I guess, what we would call like the Highlander of the West, right? The School of Unity and Liberation. This is the place where people come to actually be free, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
when I got to get out of this place and interact with people all over the country and all over the world who are trying to figure out how to make change, there's often these clashes because so much of what we do feels cliquish. It feels like it's for a special group of people. And unless you have the code, right, then you're not really down. And I wanted to pull all that apart because you know what? We are facing some of the greatest threats to humanity in a generation,
Mm.
and we are too small. We are too small to be so cliquish.
Mm.
So I wanted to make political work more accessible because, frankly, we need a lot more hands in this work. I wanted to make organizing clear because there's confusion about what this work is and what it isn't. And I think everybody has a role to play, but not every role is organizing. So I wanted to be able to make that distinction. Some things are not organizing. I see people, who say, I'm a political strategist. And I'm like, based on what? Right? It's actually just okay to be somebody who thinks things about things. And maybe that's not being a political strategist, but it's being a cultural commentator, whatever. It doesn't matter. But I believe that words mean things.
Yeah.
And one of the things that feels important to me about that is that we use these tools that we have been handed by our ancestors, trained up in, right, by the people who resisted before us. And we need to use those tools in the service of our liberation in a time, place, and set of conditions that is, I'm not going to say it's unmatched, but it's new to a lot of us. So we
Yeah.
need a lot more fighters. And I'm hoping that this book at least helped people understand what organizing is and what role they can play in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hope it did, and I hope it does in a very, I don't know, honestly, much more human way, right, than some of the folks who have made some of cis het men who continue to make
Our job's a lot fucking harder.
listen, I don't even know. I'm just like, Jesus. I try to be so good. Listen,
I could feel it. I could feel it.
I talked to Mac. I was here talking to Mac because the two of us had a very public disagreement at a point, right? And only public in terms of Facebook because what the fuck? What is a public disagreement? We people,
Right.
we disagree
Right.
about something. That's not
Right.
we like
And that's okay. Yeah.
everybody else chiming in was the problem. We're fine.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Facts. That's
So
happens.
there are right, there are common folk that we all know because the 25 or so years that I spent in the Bay was from the mid 90s
Mhm.
up through time. Okay,
Yes.
give it
Yeah.
say a decade ago. Okay,
Yes.
so and we worked in collaboration with some of the same peoples, many of
Yes.
whom have gone on to be quite the celebrant, which I think is marvelous,
Mm.
and that there were clues around people telling on themselves pretty early, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, why are you asking me what a publicist is, nigga? What, like, really, what is happening right now? You're supposed to be putting me up right now. I'm very confused, right? Clues, clues.
Here we go. Whew.
And when I had said a thing with names attached, right?
Oh,
The our mutual friend was like, "Yo, come on now, like we ain't really got to be doing the work of the FBI's and the work of the CIA's and what have you." And I
mm,
understand, right? Because we come from different places. I am not a
mm,
Panther Cub, okay?
mm,
So there is a set of information that is held that I don't hold the same way, right? I come from a place of, all my skin folk ain't my kin folk, man.
mhm.
I'm trying, but there are individuals who be doing some shit that I'm like, how you want me to not just be saying shit? And that's the thing I just don't understand. You did a lovely job. Shut up. Why are you talking? You did a good job. I'm serious.
Thank you.
You did a very good job because listen, you talked about other choices that people made, right? In their own lives that were not directly about impacting and affecting you. And these are people who were in the same circles and in the same ciphers. And specifically, obviously, I'm talking about DeRay right now. Now, when I talk about DeRay, I have often said, is there a DeRay in your local orgs? Can you sniff them out? You should. Okay. DeRay is the one who put themselves where they put themselves in such a position that I'm the one who got to see him on Katie Couric talking about he the founder of BLM when I know good damn well that he's not. That's the sort of thing where I am still negotiating how do we pull people in, and I need to learn. How do we do How do I not behave like I'm behaving right now? And I'm trying not to, and I know. And listen, I'm going to say to you the same thing I've said to everybody who's ever been here. If this need to not be up no more after we get done talking, then that's what it is. How do I get better at this part?
Well,
How
okay.
have you gotten better at this part?
Well, look, I have a lot to say about this.
Come on.
So, you know, the process of writing this book was actually really cathartic for me because I think we hold these dualities, right? On the one
Mm.
hand, we see some fuck shit and we'd be like,
Rah, rah,
is
rah, rah.
conversation for everybody or is this a conversation just for me and that person?
Okay.
But on the
Yes.
other hand, there are some hits that we take by not engaging in the discussion. And part of it is because we are still building muscles around identifying and debating the dynamic versus the person. So
Now, when you say the
there's
dynamic versus the person, you talk about that dynamic that you talked about around the black pulpit, the man at the black pulpit bullshit.
yes, like this dynamic where we're always looking for a cishet black dude to be at the forefront.
Right.
And it's about DeRay, but it's not about DeRay.
No.
I mean, I needed to be specific because there were a lot of questions, and we had never publicly really talked about all of the ways in which we have tried to make these interventions. I'm not the only one. And I think for a lot of us who have lamented about this, we have both been hit with the Don't bring your disagreements in public.
Mm.
But I think we've also been hit with the, well, as long as nobody talks about it, nobody knows how to place it in context.
Or
And,
history.
I read an article from Tirana that I actually quoted in the book. She wrote about this in The Root, and she was like, look, it's not personal, but it is about telling stories that are complex and also telling stories that are real and true. And for years, I think I felt gaslighted when I would be like, this is wrong. This is wrong. Like everybody has a role to play, but it's not acceptable to attach roles to yourself that you don't play. But with that, there's a lot of people who allow it, and that's actually the bigger problem. There are a lot of people who know better and don't do better. And so it's something for us to pull back on and say, well, why do we do this? Right? Knowing that this is not good for us, why do we do it? Then I think there's the conversation too, which I also talk about in the book, where movements themselves are just messy. And I think people really expect for movements not to be messy, and we
Mm.
don't want to put our mess on Front Street because we know how the government be. But then also, if we don't put our mess out there for people to know that there is mess, then people are constantly disillusioned when there's mess. But here's the thing. Movements are messy because they're comprised of human beings, and human beings are messy
Right.
just by default. And we're all trying to do a thing that really we haven't done before. We're trying to chart new paths and we're trying to learn lessons along the way.
Mm.
It's rough that I can know that behind the scenes, I know people who I love and respect, but who I also know like lay hands on their partners. And other people know that too, but nobody talks about it because they don't want to tarnish the image. So what I'm arguing in this book is that we actually have to air it out, and not air it out in the way that we see it happen on social media where people get dragged and all this, but we need to be courageous enough to not hide the mess in such a way where it allows for the proliferation of the same bullshit.
Mm.
We need room for new
Mm.
bullshit.
Yeah.
We are bringing forward old stuff that actually we need to intervene on if we're to actually advance.
Mm. Yeah, no, that really really tracks with me. I recently, and folks who spend any time under the tree will recognize I had a conversation that I'm not going to mention which one, but if you pay enough attention, that is no longer in the feed, and it will
Mm,
reappear in the feed.
mhm,
But I fucked up and did not pay attention to the number one lesson about why the cage bird sings, and I slipped. I think where the challenge was for me in that particular instance was talking about something that had happened in the past and talking about my regret in
mm,
not dealing with it at the time, but again not having enough context,
mhm,
right? Because I did not have the ongoing continual relationship over this last decade to know
mhm,
how much work folks had been doing, and in particular men's, in healing and in being accountable, right?
mm,
Such that all I was doing was like not even ripping off a scab, like reopening a scar. Do you know
I
what I
see.
mean? Not adding a
For sure.
balm, not even, oh, there's a scar there.
For
That was
sure.
fine. But then I dug in a little, like, oh, I wish I, and ugh. Uh,
Mm.
so yeah, trying to figure out those balances.
It's really hard. And honestly, I was every piece in this book is agonizingly gone over. I really wanted to make sure that this wasn't, it's not a tell-all book. And I mean,
Yeah.
if this was going to be a tell-all, child, trust me, there would be volumes. It
Listen,
wouldn't be a thing.
listen. I'm getting
Um,
off the screen. I'm gonna let you talk because I don't. My face will talk.
but also there's a lot of situations that I reference where I don't use names. And the reason is, again, I want us to zoom out. I don't want you to focus so much on the person. I want you to focus on the fact that this is a pattern, and it's not a pattern with the person.
Yeah.
It's a pattern in our society, and it's a pattern in our movements. I think with Dure in particular, I wanted to do the same thing. And, I tend to have a rule where, if, whatever I say in public about you, child, I will say to your face. And so these conversations have happened, and
which
I,
which which I knew and know, right? And had I not known, I would not have spent the last
yeah,
half decade of my life saying the shit out loud to anybody
thank you.
who's willing to listen,
Thank
because I
you.
find it ridiculous and offensive. I think it's
Thank
disgusting.
you.
It hurts my feelings every fucking time.
Of
And the fact
course.
that this and the fact that my comrade is still doing it is just
Yeah.
it's beyond astonishing to me.
It's not astonishing to me. And that's what I wanted to lift up is
Okay,
that,
bring it.
you know, we're grown and we know what we've done. And for us, it's also not about the same things. Like,
No,
I
no,
don't care about being on talk shows and things like that. And we do get the opportunity to do that. And that is different than a lot of people who do the work that we do.
right.
And so I wanted that chapter to really dive into what I think is a relatively new phenomenon, which is lifting up people like us who do this work and turning us into celebrities. And what it does is it makes people crave that,
Yeah.
as opposed to, right, having a strategic approach to why you would ever cross over into the mainstream. And it's
Right.
interesting. I was up late last night because, I had, I don't know, maybe anticipation for the week. So I woke up at 3 o'clock, the ancestors time. I woke up at 3 o'clock, needed to get up at 5, but I was up at 3. So I was
Okay.
scrolling through and I saw somebody who I really respect and love, who I know does not like spotlight or attention at all. They had just been named to a list in a magazine of like 50 best activists or something.
Mm,
And they had started getting criticism from people in their community who all of a sudden thought they were the shit and this and that. And I thought it was really interesting to watch the processing happen because I was like, you are a really good organizer and people should know about you. You do good things and it's big and it's important for more people than activists to know about you so that they too can get involved and be exposed to something different. But the fact is, we also have a dynamic where we think it's cute for a second, but then we also want to pull people down
mm.
and be like, it's not acceptable for you to catapult in this way. And I question that in the book. I'm like, I don't care about being a celebrity, but don't we think that it's important for us to reach more people than the people who already know about us? Because every single day, people are forming their opinions, they are forming their viewpoints, they are forming their view of the world in arenas that we're not in. And
Yeah.
so imagine that we are like a tree that falls in the forest and nobody's around to hear it make a sound. That's what we have to climb over. So I get into a lot of the questions in the book, and I hope that I did the chapter well because it's nuanced, and I critique myself in it. I wasn't going to critique Dure without putting myself in the same boat. So
Listen.
I hope people enjoy it.
Well, and that's a big part of it too, right? Because the thing is, if we can't and don't read ourselves, right, then we're just waiting for other people to do it.
That's right.
We're just waiting for somebody else to take that role. And
That's right.
and you know, Hunty, I know what a mess I am. Do you know what I mean? I know what it is. I am so excited that I've got this circumstance happening where I have hardcover books all around me. I have a colonial aesthetic to it. I there's a there's a way I like to do. There's a way I like to do. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That yeah, that is an ongoing question, and it continues to be right for many of the people who are closest to us, as there are folks who continue to find themselves in public circumstances, whether they've been drawn there, thrust themselves, they finally accepted that they were supposed to be there, whatever it is, that the ones who, moreover, ought to be here are the ones who really would be just fine and would rather not, and it's fine. It's we could
That's
just we could do this much smaller, and it would be fine.
That's right.
It would be
That's
fine.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, the other part of it, and you did address this in the book, and you do address this in the thinking, and you say it in much better words than I do, because to your point, right? I'm like, even thinking on it, I'm about to start being like, well, if we look at Alinsky and what, being able to wiggle where you stand and make movement, right directly where you are.
That's right.
Right directly where you are. Is that your workplace?
That's right.
Is that your family? Start there, right? That when we're able to do that, it begins to have a ripple. And I think one of the things that you articulated well is the accidental and very swift come up. And I know a few people who have done that, either intentionally or inadvertently. And I can't imagine a thing more dizzying.
It's
How
wild.
has that been for you?
It's wild. I mean, on a lot of levels, um, it's humbling. It's really humbling. And it's been exhilarating and painful and eye-opening, all the things.
Yeah.
But mostly, I just keep thinking, how do we get to the people who are looking for us but can't find us? And for all the times that I said no to those things, there were people who didn't get the benefit of learning that there was a different way, that they weren't alone in thinking the way that they think, of wanting the things that they want. And that they didn't have to be worried about asking stupid questions, right? Because the only questions that are dumb are the ones that you don't ask, especially if you don't know.
Right.
So I think for me, my life has forever been changed, and that's true. And I spend a lot of time coming to grips with that, and a lot of therapy, cha. And at the same time, I've never been so in my skin
Yeah.
because I've had to be. And for all the weirdness that there is, and there is a lot of weirdness, there is also 3 times the cheering and the like, yes, go.
Yeah.
And that is what matters and is what is important.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you stand in it and you continue to stand in it, that the women who I know, the femmes who I know in particular, who, right, for whatever, culturally, this is the moment, and knowing how white supremacist capitalist patriarchy works, and that if this movement and struggle don't continue, that the moment will pass.
That's
right. Knowing what you are doing, seeing the ways in which people wring you dry with it. I sincerely appreciate that you do keep skin in the game. And I understand the folks who can't, including mutual friends, who are just like, I've had, nah, I'm cool. I don't need it. I don't want to talk about no politics, nowhere, with nobody. And if I talk with you, you're going to say some political shit, and then no. So no. And I get it. I get it, cause yeah, your menschie's got to be destroyed like on a daily. Please tell me you have people dealing with that bullshit for you now. Please just
No,
let
I
me
do.
in down that much.
And I do my own social media, but I will tell you,
Ooh, thank
I
God.
can always tell when something pops off because my mentions are a mess. I can always tell. I can always tell. And I
R.I.P.
could
your
have not even done
menchies.
anything. It's just something happens in the world, and all of a sudden I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'm
Your
off
phone just be
today.
vibrating like that all day. Just
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, but interestingly enough, people are not original.
Listen, there's 7 scripts. I will get academic like a motherfucker. I don't give a shit. They ain't got but
Totally.
7 shits to say to you.
That's
And
right.
once you know they little sorry ass social script, and then it ultimately goes, can we buy you?
Yep,
No. Can we
yep,
fuck you?
yep.
No. Okay, we gonna threaten to kill you,
That's right.
and maybe, but maybe they gonna
Hmm.
do that any fucking way. So who cares? Ridiculous ass. They ain't got shit to say. I do get scared for you sometime. I ain't gonna lie. I do get scared for you on a personal sometime. I don't like that. But
Mhm.
I am glad that you staying in it and you staying swinging at these motherfuckers.
We out
Cause
here.
woo child, woo child, they need it. Ooh, they need
Yes,
it.
they do.
Ooh,
Yes, they
they need
do.
it. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Um, how did you have a good editor? Did you have a good experience with your editor? How awful is writing a book? It's just forever homework. My lord.
I love my editor so much. Chris Jackson
God
from One
bless.
World is amazing.
Shout
And he
out Chris
really
Jackson. Good,
believed
good,
in
good,
this
good.
project right alongside me.
Awesome.
It was like love at first sight, I would say. Writing a book sucks. It's really, it's a lot. And my mom died in the middle of me trying to finish this book. And so I
I'm
was
so
not
sorry.
sure that I was going to finish this. Thank you. But my mom was probably more proud that I got this book deal than I was. And when she was alive, she asked me every day, "When is the book coming out?" Which is the worst thing you can ask a writer
Right.
that is like I'm like so deep in this thing and I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But when she passed, death reorganizes you. It really does. It helps you get clear on everything that is important and everything that is not. And I knew I had to finish. So it is cathartic. It's scary. It's this is the longest thing I've ever written, and I spent time in academia, so I really thought I had this on lock. I was like, I've written a master's thesis. I can write a book. That's nothing. No, books are very vulnerable in ways that academic writing is not.
Hmm.
Um, and you really have to think not just about saying what you want to say, but you have to figure out who you're trying to say it to. And for me, I had to do a lot of edits because I assumed often that people knew what I was talking about. And again, this is like a practice that I have as an organizer, right? Just keep it simple. So, for example, the chapter about where I'm from, I do this whole history of the rise of the conservative movement. And when I first wrote that chapter, it was very wonky, child. There was lots of detail because, I'm an academic writer. So I was making sure that my sources were right and all these things. And when I read it, I was like, this is the worst part of the book. It's boring. So I rewrite the whole thing and place myself in it. And I think it made it a much better read,
Yeah.
honestly. And it gave you a sense of why should I even give a shit about this? And, how does that relate to my own life? And that's really what I wanted to come out of it.
Yeah. Nice. Very, very well done. Like I said, and I told you this right before we came on too, I have so many times, and would have and would love to anytime that you are more available than now. And thank you so much for making this happen while you are pressing
Stoked.
this book. I fucking know. And God bless too. Let me say this as well: the perseverance that it takes to either do a book, to write a book, to be in any circumstance where we are trying to then elevate the efforts of our peers, to elevate the work that needs to be heard. That it takes time and it takes organizing and it takes effort, and motherfuckers just need to stay with it. Just need to stay with it, and I hope that if nothing else, the end of the story, that folks understand that that's really what the decision is, right? That for many of us, this is not a job. I mean, this, it's like what is the form that is going to serve getting the people to get organized to make the change and transform their daily existences, right? And whatever form that takes, showing up for it, and right. You continue to be the water and the shea butter. Yay, squeezing in all the nooks and crannies and getting in the right places.
Yay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Normally, this is the part where I ask where your socials. I don't think that's the thing you need. You're more than welcome to say it if you want. Sure. Yeah. Say your socials. Do the thing. Let's do the thing. How can people find you?
You can find me all over the socials. But if you want to follow what I'm up to, you can hit me up on my website, aliciagarza.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Chasing Garza. You can find me on Twitter at Alicia Garza. You can find me on Facebook, hit my public page, Alicia Garza. And we be acting a fool on the socials. So come and have some fun with us. And if you want to get the book, you can get it on my website. But honestly, get it from an independent bookstore that really needs your support right now. My favorite is Marcus Books in Oakland. It's the oldest Black bookstore in the country. So if you head over there and get the book, say hi to Miss Blanche for me.
Say it, do it. Hey, listen, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I appreciate you so much. And we'll talk soon.
Let's do it.
Love, family. Love to everybody who needs that love. You know who I'm talking about. Send my love.
I know. To him. I'm going to give it to him.
Please do.
Mwah.
Please do. All right.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
Ciao.
We'll talk soon. Whoop, that's just your face smiling. I love your face smiling. That was just your face smiling. Family. Alicia Garza was here under the tree, right? With us, talking the shits, saying the things. And that's the show. You heard it. Your independent bookstores, huh? Portland, that's Powell. Denver, you know the big. I can't remember the name now. Used to be Humane used to be there in Denver. Then it was in New York. I don't know if it's still there. Independent bookstores. That's where you want to do that. You want to get this book. The Purpose of Power is the name of the book. That was my friend Alicia Garza. Tomorrow, I'm going to be here, right here with Amber Boydson, and it is going to be one hell of a conversation. You are so welcome. Thank you. Thank you for being here and for being a part of this, because if y'all weren't part of this, this is just me and my friends talking on the phone. Except it sounds like an interview at times, and then that's weird. But I'm very clearly very, very, very proud of my team. And, oh, man. White people, huh? Jesus. I guess we got to keep working. This has been another episode of Smoke and Mirrors, and thank you so much for spending a little bit of time right here on the Philosopher's Street. It's been so great. Hey, you could go to the IG and check us out at Smoke and Mirrors CCB. That's for the comedy, the culture, the blackness. Twitter, you could look at my words if that's the thing you like looking at. That's like pictures for your brain hole. That's Twitter at Caballo Negrito. For the monolingual amongst us, Caballo Negrito, that translates loosely to "We are laughing at the whites." Caballo Negrito translates loosely to "laughing at the whites." And if you have a comment, do you have a suggestion, do you have a thought about who should be here on Smoke and Mirrors, please reach out and let us know. That would be at Smoke and Mirrors CCB at gmail.com. Again, that CCB is for the comedy, the culture, and the blackness. This is a thing that is produced and hosted by myself, Carlos Kareem Wyndham. Also produced by Tracy Tatamy. Thank you so much for spending some time. Hey, do me a favor. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Would you please stay your ass inside? Stay inside. If you're not going to stay inside and you do go outside, wear a mask. If you do wear a mask and you go outside and you come back inside, wash your hands very carefully. Because why? Well, it's because we love you and we'd like to see you back here again tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.